Welcome to G Fun Facts Online. In late November 2025, the skies over Darwin, Australia turned a menacing gray. This wasn't just another tropical storm. It was the prelude to Severe Tropical Cyclone Fina, a tempest that would test the city's resolve and serve as a powerful reminder of nature's fury in our changing world. Fina was more than just wind and rain. For the residents of Darwin, it was a chilling echo of Cyclone Tracy, the disaster that had leveled their city 50 years earlier. Today, we're dissecting the anatomy of this monster storm, its impact, the science that powers it, and what it tells us about the increasing threat of severe weather globally. It's a story of destruction, but also one of remarkable resilience. Let's get into it. Cyclone Fina didn't appear out of nowhere. It began its life as a seemingly innocuous tropical low, churning over the exceptionally warm waters of the Timor Sea, just off Australia's northern coast. But the conditions were perfect for rapid intensification. Think of a tropical cyclone as a colossal heat engine, and the warm ocean is its fuel. With sea surface temperatures primed for growth, Fina began to organize and strengthen at an alarming rate. Within a short period, it had evolved into a formidable Category 3 system. The Australian Bureau of Meteorology, the BOM, issued urgent warnings. The numbers were staggering: sustained winds of 140 kilometers per hour, with terrifying gusts reaching up to 205 kilometers per hour. To put that in perspective, that's fast enough to rip roofing from houses and send large, heavy debris flying like missiles. By the time it neared the Northern Territory's top end, it was on the cusp of becoming a Category 4 storm. The target was Darwin and its surrounding communities. The city held its breath. Fina's path was crucial. Its very destructive core, the area of its most intense winds surrounding the eye, tracked just north of the city of Darwin itself. This was a small mercy, but it didn't mean the city was spared. Before menacing Darwin, the cyclone's full fury was unleashed on the nearby Tiwi Islands. Then, it scraped past the capital and began tracking west-southwest. This event immediately drew comparisons to the city's darkest day, Christmas Day 1974, when Cyclone Tracy, a smaller but more intense system, made a direct hit and essentially wiped Darwin off the map. Fina was officially the most powerful storm to threaten the city since Tracy, and for a harrowing period, Darwin was a city under siege. For hours, the powerful winds tore through the community. The sound was described by residents as a constant, deafening roar. Trees, some of which had stood for decades, were no match for the gusts. They were ripped from the ground, roots and all, crashing onto roads, blocking access, and smashing into backyards and houses. The infrastructure that powers modern life buckled under the strain. Power lines snapped and whipped through the air, plunging almost 20,000 homes and businesses into a sudden, unnerving darkness. The storm's force was so immense that it even caused a partial roof collapse at the Royal Darwin Hospital, a critical piece of infrastructure. Miraculously, no one was in that section of the building at the time, and there were no injuries. But the wind was only half the story. The other weapon in Fina's arsenal was water. A deluge of rain accompanied the gales. The official reading at Darwin Airport recorded 168.6 millimeters of rainfall in just 24 hours. To the south, at a location called Middle Point, the gauges were inundated with a truly staggering 429 millimeters. That's nearly half a meter of rain in a single day. This intense downpour quickly overwhelmed drainage systems, leading to widespread flash flooding. Streets turned into fast-flowing rivers, isolating entire communities and making travel impossible and deadly. Darwin's International Airport was forced to close, and most businesses shut their doors. Residents were strongly urged to take shelter, either in the strongest, most central rooms of their own homes or in designated public emergency shelters. Despite the ferocity of the storm and the widespread damage, the initial reports brought a wave of relief. There were no serious injuries. This incredible outcome is a testament not to luck, but to preparation. Northern Territory Chief Minister Leah Finocchiaro praised the community's spirit, painting a picture of the aftermath where neighbors are coming out with chainsaws and everyone's chipping in. It's a spirit forged in the memory of a previous, even more devastating disaster. For many longtime residents of Darwin, the howl of Cyclone Fina's winds wasn't just a new storm. It was a traumatic echo. It brought back vivid, painful memories of Cyclone Tracy in 1974. To understand Darwin's response to Fina, you have to understand Tracy. On Christmas of that year, Tracy, a compact but incredibly violent Category 4 cyclone, passed directly over the city. The results were catastrophic. 71 people lost their lives. Over 70% of the city's homes were destroyed or seriously damaged. The city was left in ruins, leading to the largest airlift in Australian history, with more than 30,000 people evacuated. Tracy didn't just destroy buildings, it reshaped the city's psyche. The shared memory of that disaster is now deeply ingrained in Darwin's culture. It has created a unique and powerful culture of preparedness. While the material damage from Fina was significant, running into millions of dollars, the psychological impact, that raw reminder of nature's untamable power, was just as profound. So what exactly is a cyclone, and why are they becoming such a topic of concern? Tropical cyclones, which are known as hurricanes in the Atlantic and typhoons in the northwestern Pacific, are all the same phenomenon: gigantic, rotating storms that form over warm tropical oceans. The recipe has a few key ingredients. First, you need heat. Lots of it. Cyclones are fueled by the latent heat and moisture of the sea, which is why they only form in regions where the sea surface temperature is above 26.5 degrees Celsius, or about 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Here's how it works. As warm, moist air over the ocean rises, it cools and the water vapor condenses, releasing heat. This process creates an area of lower air pressure near the surface. Nature abhors a vacuum, so higher pressure air from the surrounding areas pushes in to fill the gap. This new air is then warmed by the ocean and rises too. This creates a continuous, self-sustaining cycle of rising warm air. As this cycle intensifies, it starts to spin. This spin is caused by the Coriolis effect, a product of the Earth's rotation. In the northern hemisphere, storms spin counterclockwise, and in the southern hemisphere, like with Fina, they spin clockwise. The stronger the storm gets, the more organized it becomes, eventually forming the distinct and often feared eye at its center, an area of calm, low pressure. This brings us to the critical question: what is the link between these powerful storms and our changing climate? This is a major focus of scientific research, and while there's still more to learn, a clear picture is emerging. Currently, it's not clear whether climate change is increasing the total number of cyclones that form each year. Some models suggest the number might even decrease slightly. However, there is strong and growing evidence to suggest that climate change is making the cyclones that do form more powerful and dangerous. The logic is straightforward. As mentioned, warm water is the fuel for these storms. Global warming is, by its very definition, heating up the planet, and a significant portion of that extra heat is being absorbed by the oceans. Warmer ocean temperatures provide more energy, more fuel for these storms to tap into. This translates directly into higher potential wind speeds and, crucially, a greater amount of rainfall as warmer air can hold more moisture. This is exactly what we saw with Cyclone Fina's incredible rainfall totals. On top of that, rising sea levels, another direct consequence of climate change, worsen the impact of storm surges. A storm surge is the abnormal rise in sea level generated by a storm, pushed towards the coast by its winds. When you start with a higher baseline sea level, the same storm surge can penetrate further inland, causing much more extensive coastal flooding. As Professor Steve Turton, an adjunct professor at Central Queensland University, noted in the context of Cyclone Fina, quote, with climate change, we're expecting the intensity of these storms to increase. We're expecting them to intensify more rapidly. we're already seeing those patterns. Cyclone Fina is not an isolated event. It is a single, powerful chapter in a much larger global story of intensifying weather. In recent years, the world has witnessed a grim succession of powerful storms that have left trails of destruction. In 2022, there was Hurricane Ian. This powerful Category 5 hurricane slammed into Cuba before tearing into Florida. It caused widespread devastation and is ranked as one of the costliest hurricanes in United States history. In 2023, the world watched Cyclone Freddy. Freddy was remarkable for its sheer longevity. It was one of the longest-lasting tropical cyclones ever recorded. It crisscrossed the Indian Ocean, wreaking havoc on Madagascar, Mozambique, and Malawi, with catastrophic flooding and a tragic loss of life. And we can't forget Typhoon Haiyan in 2013. Regarded as one of the most powerful tropical cyclones ever to make landfall, Haiyan devastated parts of Southeast Asia, particularly the Philippines. Its unbelievable wind speeds and a massive tsunami-like storm surge resulted in over 6,000 deaths. These events, along with countless others, underscore the truly global nature of the threat. Whether it's a cyclone in Australia, a typhoon in the Philippines, or a hurricane in the Caribbean, the physics are the same, and the danger is escalating. So, if these storms are getting stronger, what can be done? The experience of Cyclone Fina in Darwin offers a clear and vital lesson: the absolute importance of preparedness and resilience. The fact that a storm of Fina's intensity caused widespread property damage but no serious injuries is not an accident. It's a direct result of decades of planning and a community that takes the threat seriously. Let's break down the key elements of this successful preparedness. First and foremost are early warning systems. Accurate and timely forecasts from meteorological agencies like Australia's BOM are the first line of defense. They give communities and authorities precious time, hours, sometimes days, to prepare. Second is public awareness and education. It's not enough for the experts to know a storm is coming. The public needs to be educated about the risks and, crucially, know exactly what to do to prepare their homes, their emergency kits, and their families. This is the culture of preparedness that Tracy built in Darwin. Third is robust infrastructure. After Cyclone Tracy, Darwin's building codes were completely rewritten. They are now among the strongest in the world, designed to withstand high winds. This investment in resilient infrastructure can be the difference between a damaged roof and a completely destroyed home. Finally, there is effective emergency management. A disaster response requires a coordinated effort between government agencies, emergency services, and community organizations. Having well-drilled emergency plans ensures that the response is swift, efficient, and effective. The story of Cyclone Fina is a stark reminder that we are living in an era of supercharged weather. But it's a story with two sides. It is a story of destruction, yes, but it is also one of resilience, community spirit, and the life-saving power of being prepared. We cannot prevent these storms from forming, but we can, and we absolutely must, take action to mitigate their impacts and protect our communities. This requires a two-pronged approach. On one hand, we must continue building resilience and adapting to the impacts of climate change that are already locked in. On the other, we must take urgent, global action to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions that are fueling these more intense storms in the first place. The cleanup in Darwin will continue, and the city will recover, as it did after Tracy. But the lessons from Cyclone Fina must be heeded, not just in Australia, but around the world. The winds of Fina have passed, but the winds of change are upon us. We have to be ready to face them.